Welcome to another episode of the ParkZapp podcast, brought to you by Zamorins Solutions. I'm your host, Amal Kumar. Today, we're honored to have a special guest, Maury Gallagher, president of ISBGA and an influential park and recreation leader. ISBGA has been a critical partner in our mission at ParkZapp to enhance safety and efficiency in parks through innovative technology. Additionally, we're proud to count the Clear Creek Amana School District as one of our valued clients, furthering our commitment to creating safer environments for children and communities. Mary, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Let's start with your journey. What first got you interested in building and grounds management? And how did that path lead you to your role with the ISBGA?
Well, first off, I want to thank you for having me on this podcast. I think it's a really valuable thing that you're doing to get just some more information about the facilities management industry and just what takes place within that industry. As far as my journey started about 30 years ago, actually. I went to technical school to become a welder. And after I did that for a number of years, so I think it was about 3 years, I was in the factory industry, and I decided that wasn't the path I wanted to take. And then I decided to go back to school. And what I majored in was civil and construction engineering technology, and I spent 10 years with an engineering firm. I spent another 10 years owning my own company. And then this opportunity with the Clear Creek Amana School District came by, and they thought I'd be a good fit, and I thought it was something that was very interesting. And I've been here for 16 years now. Um, yeah, it's everything I've ever done. It's all just rolled up into one package. Um, just with the buildings, the grounds, the dealing with architects, engineers, contractors, all of those things. It's all just wrapped up into one.
So, when you took on the buildings and grounds director role at Creek Amana, was there a defining moment that inspired you to take on this leadership position?
Well, actually, that's what the position was that they offered me, and they had never had this particular the buildings and grounds director. They had never had that position within the district before, so I've been the first person with that role within our district. So it was something that was new. So the person who hired me at the time essentially told me to mold the position as I saw fit, um, and it took me um, there was a learning curve. I absorbed a ton of information from the current employees that were here at the time. Um, I found out about the ISBGA, and I was referred to several districts around the surrounding area here. And I reached out to the contacts at those districts, and they were fantastic with just filling me in and just different things to expect in the role since it was new. But being a former business owner, a contractor, the leadership part of things just that was second nature. But how it fit into the facilities industry, being maintenance, custodial, all those things with the different trades, HVAC, plumbing, heating, electrical, just managing so many of those different things at once, and then dealing with in the education environment. Um, that was something that was totally new to me, and just how things worked within the public sector. Um, so, I just I molded the position here just how I saw fit, and just and listening a lot, taking in advice from other school districts, their facilities managers, and that's where the ISBGA really came in handy. Was once I got having regular attendance with that group, because our district had belonged to the ISBGA prior to me starting. but then they encouraged me to go to the meetings, which I did. And then for almost 16 years now, it's just been, um, just a regular thing. And I like to pass on what I learned very early in my career, pass on to people that are new to the career as well. And I think prior to me, that's how so many people that I talk to, that's just how they were able to advance their careers and promote their school districts and help their school districts. So I kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent there, but everything just kind of flowed together as far as my career and how it ties in with the ISBGA.
Yeah, it's a lot of experience for sure, from HVAC to all sorts of stuff. That's awesome. You're kind of like a jack of all trades in that sense.
Yeah, that's this position in a nutshell. You don't have to be an expert in any of them, but you have to have a pretty solid knowledge in all of them.
Yeah. So, how would you describe your leadership style, especially when managing school facilities? Has this style evolved as you move on into your current position with the ISBGA and Clear Creek Amana?
Okay, I'll start out with my style. My style is more of a I like to teach people. I like to have them really gain knowledge and just become better at what they're doing. Um, but I teach a lot by example, by showing them. If I'm trying to explain something and they're not quite grasping it, um, I show them how to do it. I'll physically show them how to do something, and I really like to see people learn and advance and just become better at their craft. Um, but I do also I expect a lot of people, and I hold people accountable, which I expect myself to be held accountable. But I try to coach people up. I'm not one to. I'm certainly not one to beat people down, and not a big yeller. Not that I haven't done that in the past. It's just not. It's not my style. I try to get people to believe that they can do better and do whatever they can to make that happen. Now, how I've evolved at Clear Creek Amana, well, I've gone from being a lot of hands-on management style, actually being right there with the staff, to with the growth of our district. I am much more. I'm in the office in the administrative role, a lot more of the reporting, just to um, so much. It's not my hands off. I'm more hands off now than I ever have been, as far as from a physical standpoint. Um, and I'm doing a lot more of the administrative things within our district, just because of just the sheer amount of growth that we've had. I simply can't be everywhere at once like I used to. And we have added positions within the district that have helped me immensely with uh, with managing those day to day operations.
Yeah, and also you've done a lot. So, compared to the things I used to do, that kind of takes a toll on you, I assume. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of a lot of meeting with people, a lot of just meetings in general, tons of meetings. So
so what challenges have you faced in these roles, and how have they shaped you to lead?
okay, um, certainly challenges have been specifically to our district. Challenges have been growth, very fast growth, and trying to keep up with that. We've had an immense amount of construction projects happen over the last 16 years. And that's certainly been a challenge. It's been exciting, but it's still a challenge. And then making sure that all the design of all our facilities is including all the stakeholders. That means the faculty, our school board, the community, and all our administrators. And then ultimately, it's all for the students. So just trying to make sure that everybody has a stake in what we're doing, and and making sure that everybody can take pride in what we have, and making sure that it's safe, energy efficient, comes in on budget, all those things. So that's that can be difficult at times, certainly. Um, but then let's see, what was the second part of the question? Um, Sorry, I'm just looking here. Oh, just how it's molded within the ISBGA. And well, um, I would say just with how I've gotten involved with the ISBGA, having those type of let's see, with the have to make sure that the stakeholders are all involved. We have the same thing with the ISBGA. You know, all of our members are stakeholders, and then with our membership, not just the individuals that come to the meetings, but they all represent a school district of their own. So we want to make sure that we're providing everything for those districts, or providing valuable information for those districts, and we want to make sure we do that. So that's kind of from my experience, myself, from my management style. I want to make sure that we're doing that same type of thing for the ISBGA members and giving back to them as well.
So, when it comes to technology, technology is playing an ever-growing role in facility management. How do you see tools like ParkZapp fitting into the bigger picture of maintaining school safety and efficiency?
Well, it's a very powerful tool and valuable tool, especially for the record keeping. When it comes to the recreation equipment and playground equipment, there's a huge liability there with that equipment. You know, from the cities to other park and rec department to school districts to private enterprises. There's a lot of liability there in keeping track of your inspections, and keeping very thorough records is critical. And ParkZapp is a very powerful tool in helping with that. I know just in our experience using it, we've used it prior, we're using it again. It's evolved over the years from the first time we started. So I'm going to be perfectly honest that, and we've talked about this. So that's been something that's been very helpful, is that ParkZapp has evolved, which tells me it's catering to the customer's needs. So it's certainly valuable, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, as Zamorins Solutions, we're all about enhancing digital footprints. So, I mean, have you seen a shift towards digital transformation in your field? And how do you think, Zamorins Solutions, sorry, sorry, let me rephrase that question. So, how have you seen a shift towards digital transformation in your field? And how do you think solutions like ours can help schools stay ahead?
Okay. From a digital standpoint, so many things are electronic now. Of course, all of our plans and specs, those type of things are electronic. They've been electronic for years, but it's how we communicate. So much of that is communicated electronically. You have emails, you have just different types of things. You have different architectural software that transmittals can be done for um, like change orders and for different documentation for projects. That's all electronic. Um, it's the age we're in. Pretty much everything is electronic. All of our, I'll just touch on our HVAC systems. They're all automated. It's all technology based. Now we have our own standalone servers for our district that controls all of our HVAC equipment, and we're not alone. It's just commonplace to have just in the industry itself, that requires a higher level of expertise from our operators within the district. Um, so it's changing how we look to um, when we're looking to employ people, just to see what their background might be, or what their capabilities, what their ability to even learn these systems. Because if anybody's willing to learn and has that capacity to learn these, we're willing to teach them. So we look at hiring practices a little bit different too, depending on the positions that we have.
So I know you actually touched on projects, a couple questions ago, and I was wondering, is there any particular project or initiative you're particularly proud of at Clear Creek Amana or with the ISBGA? I'd love to hear what you've made special. Sorry, what has made it special for you? Um,
Okay. Well, boy, at Clear Creek Command, there's been a lot of projects in the 16 years I've been here. Um, they've all had, a lot of very unique in their own. Um, I would say one of the projects that we did do though that I was particularly proud of was when we added on to our high school. And this was, it was one of the first phases of, we had a master plan for our high school, and this is one of the first phases of the master plan. And what we did is we added a new another gymnasium onto the building, as well as we did some remodels, a weight room, added a wrestling room, etc. But one of my ideas was to add an elevated track, and that wasn't in our original design. And I talked to the architect and our superintendent and the school board, and they all liked the idea, and we decided to go ahead and incorporate that into the design, and it's a very unique feature. It's starting to become it's starting to become a little bit more common around school districts where they're just utilizing interior space for even more activities. Um, so we do have an elevated track that goes around our auxiliary gym, which is pretty cool. So that was a fun project. And just the different things, even the playground projects. It's fun seeing how when the kids come back to school and they have a whole new transformed playground, um, just the excitement that's around there. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a major project. It can be smaller stuff, and even having teachers come up to me, not necessarily that I'm doing the work, because our building managers and our custodial staff do a fantastic job, especially in the summer. Just the way they transform the buildings in the summer um, is incredible, and just getting those compliments from the staff, um, that really makes you feel good. As far as the ISBGA is concerned, we have through the years started incorporating more training for personnel. We're trying to incorporate some higher level seminars, um, just things that, because people in my position we're dealing with a lot of construction law, things like that. And I just felt it was beneficial to try to offer more training on those fronts for our members. And just I really like the roundtable discussions we have, because that's where, in my opinion, you really learn the most is by talking to your colleagues and having that open communication, between everybody. And that's how I learned so much, was by from other people that had experienced this, a lot of what I was going through. Um, so open dialogue is huge, and I think it's very beneficial.
yeah, I'd see that as a win. Because everybody's on the same page. Everybody's communicating, because that's number one for sure, especially in business.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
also, yeah, and also, I mean, schools are evolving. I remember, I graduated 2021, and my school is already building on more. I mean, they've already been building on even when I was in school. And the fact that that more renovations are being made, just not only to make it more unique, but to be safer. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But
And did you go to school in the Des Moines area?
I went to Sado High School.
Okay.
That's, yeah, next to Smoky D's on Second.
Hmm.
Um, I think you know where that is, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, well, anyway, you won the grand prize of 1 year free subscription to ParkZapp sorry, or from ParkZapp. How has that experience impacted you or impacted your district? And is there any success stories you'd like to share from that?
Well, it certainly impacted us in a positive way because it gives us that tool, again, that record keeping tool that's very um, it's very beneficial from for the playground equipment and just the upkeep and keeping track of the inspections and whatnot for all the playground. I know my as far as the actual use of it, I'll be perfectly honest. I am not as hands on as my grounds manager and his crew are. They're the ones who actually use it, and they absolutely are finding a benefit in it, especially with some of the new improvements that you've incorporated into it with some of the just it's just a lot more. I would say it's more powerful, but yet still user friendly, which is that's a key. There's we have such a different range of uh, technology expertises around the in our industry. It's good that multiple people can use it and find it helpful.
So, when planning, do you look more at a long-term goal, like, goals from like 5 to 10 years, or do you focus quarterly, or, how how do you make your adjustments? Like, how do you plan exactly?
All of the above and every single day.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, we do district wide. We'll do a 10-year plan, and we'll have our major projects lined out in a 10-year plan. Uh, but there's so many things in facilities. You have things come up every single day. You have a piece of equipment go down. Then you have to figure out how you're going to keep a wing of a school building cool when it's real hot or warm in the winter. Those things are happening daily. But from a project standpoint, we have 10-year plans laid out, and those will evolve a lot with funding, our funding streams. They'll evolve with input from not only our school board but from our public, and then in our case with the growth of the district, uh, based on our needs, something that I might project we need in 5 years, we might need in three. So that might in turn make me shift gears on something that I thought we might need in three. Well, that isn't, we're pushing that out to five. You know, so it's that constant juggling act. Or we might have a major failure on a piece of equipment that chews up a sizable chunk of our budget. Now those projects have to shift around. But we try best we can to have a good solid plan. I think doing that 10-year plan, what it does, it lets us forecast what we need to budget, especially when you're talking multi-million-dollar projects. You've got to be able to forecast that and see where your funding is going to be. So that's kind of how we do it. There's just things are they just constantly happen in this industry. And anybody else in my position will tell you the same thing. You can have the best plan that you think it's bulletproof, and it just it just falls apart. So you just have to roll with it. But if you have a good foundation there to start from, um, you just try to do the best you can with it.
Yeah, I mean, things happen, like you might design something to last forever, but not everything actually lasts forever. Um,
Well, that's for sure.
yeah, but that's a good thing that you have those plans. You're working on something every single day. You're trying your heart out.
Hmm.
Um, but what are the biggest challenges and opportunities in school facility management in the next few years?
I think one of the big challenges uh, would be able to uh, stay within your from a facility side, stay within your budget that you have, um, because school funding streams are different than the private enterprise. Just there's from a facility side, there's several different funding streams, but you don't necessarily have your funding right away. It's always lagging behind, and I'm not going to get into all the financial things because it's the school finance is a it can be difficult to understand. And I'm not going to get into it because I don't understand all of it. I just know where my facilities budgets come from and the funding for that. So that is difficult navigating that because again that goes back to those that project planning too. You're trying to see what your funding come in. So that would be uh, one of the big things that is a hurdle. Right now, also staffing is difficult, and I think it's not just our industry. I know staffing can be difficult there's a lot of different industries that are struggling to uh, find employees. Um, we're fortunate our staff we have right now is uh, I'd I'd put my team up against any team in the state, but I don't have enough yet. I need we need more people,
Yeah.
and finding people has been a challenge.
Yeah. Um, Community involvement is vital to maintaining school facilities. How do you engage with the community in your district, and how do they support your efforts?
Well, as far as I live local in the district, so I see community members all the time. But it's just, and I'm a very social person, so it's just it comes with the territory. Um, I'll somebody on just in the grocery store might see me, and then they'll ask questions about, hey, what's going on outside at the middle school or high school side. I see some activity as far as some construction going on, and so things like that happen, and that's perfectly fine. I have no problem at all visiting with people on what's going on, and quite frankly, I think they like it too because they're getting it firsthand on what's it's not coming through the rumor mill. So they're learning firsthand on what's actually going on. When it comes to planning with the different projects, we have our school board's very good about having community involvement in the planning stages. We've had focus groups in the past. We've had facilities groups that were all made up of the public as well as members of the school district. So the public's very much involved, and as they should be, especially when we have um, like our current projects are we're a voted bond. They're funded by a bond, and in order to pass a bond referendum, you have to have community involvement. They have to be aware. They have to be educated. They need to know what they're voting for and what their tax money is going to. So keeping them involved in whatever shape or form, I do mine more than just would be face to face, talking to people. But then our district has other avenues that they keep the public informed, be it with our newsletters, with just a board, the different focus groups that might be assigned by the school board or by our administration. Um, there's quite a few different avenues that the public is involved. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how we do it. I mean, you have to keep the public in the know. Um, this is all taxpayer funded. Um, I mean, they have that ultimate right to know what's going on.
Yeah, it's very very knowledgeable. What advice would you give other school districts looking to improve their safety inspection processes or incorporate new technologies?
Um, as far as improving, I would say first of all have have some form of record keeping that keeps you consistent. Um, being consistent is extremely important, especially from inspection standpoint. And what it does, it protects you from a on the from it's a liability protection is what it is, as well as it's just pure safety. So I guess you could even push that liability side off the side, but just safety. You want anybody that's going to be using your equipment to ultimately be safe, and if they're safe, then that reduces that liability standpoint. So they go hand in hand. So I'd say first and foremost, have a good, consistent record keeping there, which keeps you on task and keeps these inspections on done on a regular basis as they should. There are some inspections that are governed by state law or by building code, and you have to do them. You have to make sure you have that record keeping there for them. So from that standpoint on the inspections, you've got to have that. And the new technology, you got the when you have the electronic record keeping, that just goes right in hand to hand. It gives you a very quick uh, way of referencing back to what your reports might have from those previous inspections, and lets you look up the history of how that equipment or whatever the required inspection was on. Lets you look up, keep a history of things, and then that will ultimately help you with the maybe some preventative maintenance. Maybe you're looking at sunsetting some equipment where you want to change it out. And it all ties together. Then you're budgeting things. Now things tie into your long range plan, so that these things just all it's real hard to explain, but they everything I'm talking about is all intertwined. It just all goes together.
Yeah.
But technology is huge.
Yeah. Um, Managing school facilities is a demanding job. How do you maintain a work-life balance, especially when facing the challenges that come with your territory or with the territory?
Um, you, well, for me, I have an understanding wife for one. She understands that I might get a call in the middle of the night, and that certainly happens. Understands that last year Christmas Day. I spent most Christmas Day in a building with a frozen pipe, and we are dealing with that. Um, it just comes with the territory. Uh, again, I'm a social person, so work hard, play hard. So, and I have different things. I like to get out and we still have a family farm. I like to get away to that, and that's a couple hours away. So when I go visit that farm, I can decompress. Um, my kids are grown now, but before that, the kids, they're involved in so many different things. That was just fantastic, and I was able to shut off work a little bit, except when they're in the school buildings. Well, then I was still working basically, but um, you know, it, I don't know. You get to be my age and you just kind of figure it out.
Yeah, it just comes with time, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Uh, um, Lastly, what advice or lessons would you share with those aspiring to enter this field or take on a leadership role like yours?
Um, be patient, not only with yourself but with your staff. Not everybody's going to have the same type of knowledge, um, and also be patient with especially in the public education system. Uh, be patient with the faculty and the administrators. Um, and I will be perfectly honest. There's been times when I've had to step back because I wasn't patient. Um, because not everybody, they don't understand our industry. Just like I can't go into a classroom and teach whatever subject they're teaching. That is not my background. and they're not going to understand what our industry is. So they just know what their environment is like. So be patient with them and help them to understand. Um, so that would be a big thing, and that was something that I had to adjust coming from the private industry into a public education. It was absolutely different for me. Is the way just dealing with just the different personalities and the way things were just done in the public sector. Um, so it was a learning curve for me, um, and it was difficult being patient. I tried to for the most part. Like I said, I'll be perfectly honest. There's times when I wasn't, but I would just say to somebody coming in, try to be patient. Try to um, have the develop, or at least either you have it or develop the ability to thoroughly explain things to somebody, especially on a professional level. Stay calm, be professional. Um, I think as long as you have that professionalism, um, people they'll understand, um, because it can be trying at times. Um, so that would be probably the first and foremost part of advice that I'd give people coming into this industry anyway.
Yeah, I like it. It's great, and I know that we've been talking about, things that are work related, but I'll ask you a question that's a little bit less work related, more about your hobbies, So, Mary, I know you're a big fan of Iowa football. So I know how it is, but it's part of the question. How's the season shaping up so far? And when you're not at the games that you attend or watch, what other hobbies keep you busy?
Okay, first of all, I'm going to ask you a question. Did you go to Iowa State, or are you going to Iowa State?
No, well, I'll tell you what. I have friends that go to Iowa. Two of my siblings went to Iowa State, so I'll tell you what. I go to Iowa, to have fun. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Um, I have friends that DJ in Iowa City and Iowa State, So I mean, I'm neutral. I could say because I actually went to school in Florida for audio. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. Well, I'll just say that the Iowa State game, that one that one sucked. I'm not gonna lie, it did. But hey, you know what? It's a game. And at the end of the day, that somebody's gonna win, somebody's gonna lose. And we've been on the receiving end of some of those wins where I'm sure Iowa State thought they had it won, and Iowa's been able to pull it out. So it just goes back. It's a rivalry game, and anything can happen, and it goes back and forth. Now, if you would have asked me 15 or 20 years ago, I'd probably be beat red mad right now. But again, as I get a little bit older, but I would say right now, you know, there's still some things with Iowa football that frustrates me. Um, it's the same thing that frustrates all the fans that follow the Hawkeyes. It's just I'm not going to get into the things, but it's the same stuff that I get frustrated with. But I'm a season ticket holder. Well, my wife and I are season ticket holders, and we've had season tickets now for 20 years. Um, love the tailgating, the atmosphere. That's top notch over there in Iowa City. So
yeah,
we really like to partake there. Plus, we live very close. We live less than half an hour away, so it's real convenient for us. And I grew up wanting to go to the games and living almost 3 hours away. I didn't go to a football game until I was probably 22 years old. So um, it was just something that growing up with it and wanting to be part and participate in that environment. It's something that as we got off on our own, been able to do. So
yeah. It's a
I really like doing it. But I don't know. I think as far as the season goes, right now, it's one game at a time. Another rivalry game on Saturday, and I don't know. I'll be tuning in, of
Me
course.
too.
Yep.
Yeah, Iowa City's pretty fun. I literally turned 21 what like two months ago. So I mean,
Oh,
I remember.
congratulations.
Thank you. I used to sneak into Spoko through the back. You know, sports column, right? And
Oh
all
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like security's kind of tight there. I remember, I'd be in Brothers, right? And my friend would go get a wristband. He'd come back, and I remember they'd attach the wristband onto my hand. But I tried to walk in, but it was on the wrong hand, the wristband, and they'd kick me out. I was like, "Shoot, what do I do now?" And then my friend just like, "I have an idea." He says, "I have an idea." So then basically, I just walk around through the back alley next to the bathrooms, and I just come right in. And then like I have the wristband attached on the right arm this time, and then they'd be tugging my wristband like 6, 7 times, and it would never break, which is the cool part. But just cool little stories just like that. Uh,
Yeah.
it's a fun area for sure.
Yep.
But
Just don't walk out on the street with that wristband on, or have an underage wristband on after hours.
no,
I
I'm
I
usually goody two
won't mention
shoes.
any names, but I know several people close to my family that have gotten nice tickets because of not being out of the establishments in time.
Well, I'm of age now, so
Yeah, yep, that's exactly it. It's all a rite of
yeah.
passage.
Well, thank you, Mary. It's been a pleasure, talking to you, and I'm gonna end the recording now. And this was a great conversation. Hopefully, we can speak more again in the future. I'd want to, because
Mhm.
I'd say you are full of knowledge. Honestly, every guest I've had on here is full of great wisdom, and I'm just very thankful. I learn more every time. I gain more experience every time. That's for sure. But yeah, thank you.
Yep, you're very welcome.
All right.